Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Southwest Virginia fishing report with Matt Reilly. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great, Marvin. How are you?
I'm just trying to stay out of trouble, and we were talking before you started recording, and you got some snow, but not as much as some other folks.
Yeah, it's not too bad. We got about 6-7 inches or so yesterday, and enough to make everything look nice outside. But the roads are still pretty good. I was driving back from the Virginia Fly Fishing and Wine Festival yesterday, so 81, 64 are in perfect shape. So we're still getting out and about.
Yeah, and you were saying, too, that since it's been relatively cold, none of that snow's really melted, so your water levels are kind of pretty much where they've been the last week to 10 days. Yeah,
they're still pretty good. I mean, I think the new has kind of been bouncing between like 2,000 and 3,500, 4,000 cubic feet, which is pretty normal. And then the trout streams are all, pretty seasonal, typical as well.
Yeah, and I would imagine for muskie fishing, when the stuff starts to melt, it's probably going to make your life a little bit easier, right? Because it's probably going to give you a little bit of stain in the water. And, we had such wacky weather over the holidays where it was warm and the fish kind of weren't where they were supposed to be. Hopefully it'll keep them in their wintering holes, right?
Oh, it definitely will. I mean, we're definitely, we've been cold enough to have fish pretty concentrated for a couple of weeks now. But yeah, certainly that melting of the snow and ice will definitely make things a little bit colder. Visibility in the river is really pretty good right now in terms of, having just enough visibility to be, still pretty visual when you're fishing, but not so clear that you stand a lesser chance. So yeah, things are pretty good.
Yeah, and then I guess on the trout front, right, when it starts to melt and run into the water, probably a good idea to look for sunny spots later in the day and probably springs and seeps and things like that.
Exactly. Yep. We've got a certain couple streams around that definitely have more groundwater influence that are sort of born in limestone areas. And certainly, if you're going to fish earlier in the day on the trout streams, I always like to start kind of lower on the system, where the mountains aren't quite so steep around the river, so the sun gets on the water a little bit earlier, and then move up into the mountains in the afternoon. Things warm up a little bit, but yeah, I mean, trout fishing should stay pretty good. It'll just be, working that temperature, sunlight gradient, try to find the most active fish throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a muskie question for you from Grant, and he wanted to get your thoughts on fly color when you're fishing for muskie in kind of blue-green water.
Okay. So I'm going to interpret blue-green as clear, but with a little bit of a sort of a, snow melt kind of tint to it. And that, I mean, that is my favorite, condition pretty much. And I would say, I'm a big fan of natural colors. And then colors like black, which just throw a really hard silhouette and, have a lot of contrast in the water. White can be really good too. But certainly black. And then, on the natural colors front, I say natural, referring to the colors of the predominant sucker species that we have in the river. And those colors are always going to be in the sort of like yellow, brown, white, olive, gold kind of color palette. So those are kind of my go-to colors if we've got clear to, slightly tinted, slightly stained water.
Got it. And, folks, we love questions on the Articulate Fly. You can drop them in the comments to our social media posts or send us an email or hit us up on our Facebook or Instagram page. And if we use your question, I'll send you some articulate fly swag, and we will enter you in a drawing for something cool at the end of 2022 from Matt. And, as we spoke about last time, Matt, it's actually time to select the winner for the 2021 folks that ask questions. And you want to remind people what they're going to win?
Yeah. I'm going to, I've been working the vise pretty hard the last couple of weeks, tying smallmouth flies for the season coming up. So I'm going to include some of those patterns, some of the flies that I fish, sort of the staple flies in my fly box for smallmouth, and then some of our rod company and my personal, guide service stickers and a discount card for the Reilly Rod Crafters website.
Well, very cool. Well, I took all the names and put them in the Google random number generator, and Charles Knuckles is the lucky winner.
Sweet. Yeah, I think I may have run into Charles at the Fly Fishing and Wine Festival last weekend.
Yeah, and so Charles, I'll shoot you an email and hook you up with Matt, and he will take care of you. And like we always do, we always want to know what you're writing and what you've been putting out for the rural Virginian.
Yeah, so I actually don't have anything this week. I was just so busy last week, I let it slip. But we're gonna hop back on the train this week, but I'm not quite sure what we're doing yet.
Well, there you go. Anything in hatch you want to share with folks?
Putting one out pretty soon about sort of just how to be a better angler, how to improve dramatically in the coming year, because I know a lot of people are setting New Year's resolutions and trying to stick to them this time of year, and a lot of anglers are probably, trying to improve their skill set or, branch out in some way. And I won't give away what my number one tip is, but that's what I'm going to write about probably this week for Hatch.
Yeah, I suspect I know what it is, and I won't say it and spoil it either.
You probably do.
Well, listen, folks, even though it's chilly, obviously for muskie, it's prime time. But, if you get a slightly warm day where the temperatures are going to be 40 or above, you really kind of owe it to yourself to sleep in, have an extra cup of coffee, and fish from about 10 until 4 and see if you can put something in the net. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Matt.
All right. Thanks, Marvin.